Welcome to video number 2. I really hope you enjoyed the first installment of this free video series, and if you haven't watched it yet, just go and click the link below to access it. In video 1, you learned some of the latest scams that cyber criminals are doing against us, how they're doing it, and the real stories from actual people sharing their experience about these attacks. As you know, even smart people become victims of these scams and are left fearful about their privacy, reputation, and security. And that's because of one thing: conspiracy. Let me tell you about that conspiracy that's being hidden from you. It's as if the government, the media, and society are concealing the real truth about it. Most of the time, internet threats and scams are not mainstreamed, and that's because the government and the media fabricate stories and data to divert our attention to other issues. The government entwines a never-ending series of lies which prevent the media from actually talking about the truth, because they don't want to reveal the truth in the first place. Reuven Frank, a former president of NBC News, even said, "News is whatever the goddamn government says it is." Unfortunately, people are unaware and clueless about these internet dangers. No wonder people are confused about what's real and what isn't. But the problem is, if we're unaware of the truth around internet security, we will never know how to avoid them, or prevent the cyber criminals from invading our privacy and our personal data. And ignorance is the thing that makes us vulnerable to online threats. Only a few people knew that these threats were really happening to them, but not all of them knew what they needed to do about it. In fact, there's a good chance that you may not even know that you've been attacked or being spied on. But regardless if you've been a victim of a cyber attack in the past or not, in this video, I'm going to tell you and show you exactly how you can determine if you've been compromised or not, so that you can protect yourself against cyber criminals. My goal for you is to be in a better place to recover if a cyber attack does slip through the cracks. Now, for more than 15 years, I've been helping companies and private individuals to make them hacker-proof online. And a lot of people are asking me the same big questions like, how do I know if I've been hacked? Will cyber criminals go after the small fish like me? And I'm not a good target since I'm just an everyday person. But the truth is, every cyber criminal wants to get their digital paws all over your data and make you pay to get back, all while hiding their tracks so that you can't trace them back. Now, there's been over 445 million cyber attacks this year alone against remote workers. There's been so much misinformation, conspiracy theories, and fake news that have malicious links embedded in them. This way, when you click on those malicious links, the cyber criminals can infect your computer, access your data, and your stored browser passwords. They can also turn on the webcam without the light going on and record video of what's happening in the room. So hopefully, you don't have a webcam in your bedroom. You know what I mean? And no, that's not all. They can also turn on your microphone and listen to the conversations. They can also access other computers in your home network if they're vulnerable, including your office computer. Now, if you're connected to your employer remotely during this time, the attacker can actually possibly gain access to the employer's network, and if he tries to commit a crime, all the digital evidence will point back to you and your computer. Maybe you have a smart home where the temperature, the lights, or the baby cams can be controlled remotely. But they can also be accessed by cyber criminals, just like you saw in the 6 o'clock news. But there's hope, and I'm here to guide you. I'll show you the steps you need to manage your online profiles and protect your accounts and computers to limit the harm caused by online attackers, all without becoming an expert. So the first thing we need to do is become self-aware of what's floating around in cyberspace about us that could be used against us later on in a targeted cyber attack. Now, the key word here is targeted, because the cyber criminals have caught on that their Viagra email scams aren't working anymore. So coordinated online attackers will organize themselves to target you directly. Now, this is going to involve a large number of people that'll be looking through your social media sites as well as online public databases for personal details about you, including your hacked password. Now, they may use your data, such as your location, to threaten you or your family. Now, the attackers may also look through personal photos of you to manipulate the images to harass, discredit, or even shame you. So, let's mark this day and stop the cyber criminals' tracks of creating chaos in your privacy and security. In this video, you'll learn how to know if you've been hacked or not by doing the following things. First, we'll talk about the secret search system. This is where I'm going to teach you how to Google yourself the right and easy way so that you know every available information about you on the internet. We might even uncover information that you didn't even know existed. I'll show you a dead and simple and entirely free resource that you can use to quickly assess if you're at risk due to an online account of yours having been compromised in a data breach. I'll show you the not-so-secret 2-stage advanced security feature that you need to activate on all of your accounts This way, it's going to act as a protective barrier in preventing cyber criminals from accessing your private data, including its details. I'll identify the top 10 most often overlooked but obvious signs that convey that your computer has been compromised, even if you're not a cybersecurity expert. Plus, I'll cover 8 telltale signs if spyware is installed on your computer. And forget needing expensive, complicated tech setup. What you need is an advanced tool that can detect hidden threats and malware and sees the current and past network activity instantly and can block badly behaving apps. But before I share those with you, first I want to share a few mistakes that most people think about when it comes to internet security. The first mistake is people say cybersecurity is a technology problem. Folks, cybersecurity is not a technology problem. In fact, it's far from it. It's actually a people problem. So we need to address it at that level if we want to solve it. The attack is only delivered through technology. Yet, victims of these are not computers or systems. The victims are businesses and people. The technology which enables rapid detection of intruders, like antivirus and firewalls, is only one essential component of the cybersecurity architecture. Still, a strong foundation must also include a holistic and comprehensive cybersecurity defense strategy. So, it's not all about installing the safest, most robust cybersecurity protection for your home and business. It's also about putting systems and processes in place to create a dominant defense powerhouse for you and your business. Now, the second mistake is, and I believe this is a very important one, is believing it'll never happen to you. Newsflash, everyone who uses the internet is susceptible to online attacks. Now, to add to that, cybersecurity is a constantly evolving battlefield. The threats develop, the attacks take new paths, the underlying technologies change, and the cyber criminals learn to innovate. It's no longer a question of if, but when. An approach that solves yesterday's problems will not solve today's, and certainly not tomorrow's. Cybersecurity doesn't happen in isolation, and if you've been hacked before, it doesn't mean it will not happen again. Some people think it's just a set of to-dos, which you can just tick off and it's done. Unfortunately, it's dynamic, but it adjusts very well with the updates and the changes in the cybersecurity space. As the security level and technology changes, so will your cybersecurity strategy. Now, the third mistake is most people lack awareness in internet safety. Now, this is not just my opinion, this is also the opinion of other cybersecurity experts in my community. Now, most people think that cyber threats are not an alarming issue and don't need much attention. They thought that attacks like these are rare cases, which only happens to a few wealthy people or large companies. If people don't have a deeper understanding of cybersecurity threats, then they're not going to perceive it as something dangerous. This in turn makes them less likely to respond and protect themselves from it. Our fight or flight response is not activated because we're not threatened, and victims only respond to it when the attack has already been made. Nowadays, installing an antivirus and a firewall on your computer can only do so much. I mean, most of the new threats can go beyond that. Everyone should understand their responsibilities as individuals to keep their network safe and secure to achieve peace of mind whenever they go online. Just remember, cybersecurity is not IT's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility. Now, avoiding these 3 mistakes in cybersecurity won't guarantee you win every single battle, but it will ensure you win the war. Now, as an experienced cybersecurity expert for more than 15 years, I realized that people overcame these mistakes and got proactive in securing themselves online, and then they became less and less susceptible to online attacks. As a result, they established a stronger security foundation which protects their privacy, bank accounts, and reputation. These people were saved from danger, stress, fear, inconvenience, and threats to their lives if the attack happens, because they are well informed and educated about what they need to do. And during these realizations, I was able to create a simple and easy process that will help you identify if you've been hacked, spied on, or compromised. I call it the Insider Secrets to Internet Safety. This is the first part of the process. Now, in this system, you'll be able to identify the available information or data about yourself online, which you might have been unaware of. You can also quickly assess if you've been affected by numerous data breaches that have happened in the past. You can also establish layers of protection for your security to prevent cyber criminals from invading your privacy. You'll also have a deeper awareness of internet security, which will make you less susceptible to online threats and attacks. Plus, I'll show you exactly what you need to detect threats and malware and block severely misbehaving apps, which compromises your important data over the internet. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you Googled yourself? Hey, get your mind out of the gutter, okay? Now, when I give seminars, I love to ask the audience, how many of you know how to use Google? And all their hands get raised like, oh, Terry, you're such an idiot, right? Who doesn't know how to use Google? And then I ask them again, how many of you really know how to use Google? I'm going to show you a quick trick of how you can limit your searches to specific information you're looking for that you didn't even know existed. All right, let's fire up a browser and let's go to www.google.com. Once you're here, the first thing I want you to do is to go into your settings and change the search settings. You see here, we have turn on safe search. This means that if there's any content that's not appropriate, which is being searched for, it will not appear in the searches. But because we want to find out all the information about ourselves online, we want to turn this feature off to no filtering. So this way we're going to see what's really going on. Then you want to scroll down and save your settings. Now, in this case, I'm going to use my name for this demonstration because I once used someone else's name during a live event and inappropriate content showed up on the big screen. So I'm never doing that again. Now, if I just do a search for Terry Cutler, I end up with about 8,500,000 results. Now, that's just way too much information to find out about somebody, and I'm not that popular. Do you know how I actually get more specific about this search? Quotation marks. So if I end up putting quotes around my name, this will tell Google to look exactly for what's in between these quotes, even if it's spelt wrong or whatever. It's going to be searching for precisely for this. Now if I hit enter now, you'll notice that I dropped down to about 15,500 results. Because if you don't use quotation marks, Google's going to look for the word Terry, and Cutler has two separate searches. So this is getting interesting now. Now let's say you're looking for information about yourself and maybe you belong to a soccer team, or maybe you like to drive the kids to school. So you want to type something about you that you think would be in the public. For example, it could be an occupation or a sport. Now I've seen situations where you might be the soccer dad and another parent decided to build a website that had your name along with other coaches and their personal contact details. The contact number that was put there was his private cell phone number. So I just want you to be aware of this. In my case, because I'm in the cybersecurity business, I'm just going to type in the word hacker as an example. Now, as you can see, I dropped down to under 3,600 results. Now, because I do a lot of stuff in the media, I don't want to see terrycutler.com or LinkedIn or Twitter because I already know about myself there. I only want to see the information that maybe some other people are posting about me. Do you know how to remove the search results that you don't want to see? Use the minus symbol. So I'm going to go up here and start removing the search results by typing in -terrycutler.com. This is going to remove Terry Cutler from the whole list. And we're going to continue removing more web pages as we go along. We'll remove Security Week. Then we can just continue eliminating as we go along. Make sure you also click on images and videos to see if anyone's made any photos or videos about you. Now in this one example, someone's tagged me in a bunch of toilets. But this picture is actually legit because IFSEC Global did a story on me where I was hired to hack into a company from the outside and I just couldn't do it. So I drove over there and I was able to trick the receptionist into letting me use their public washroom. But the problem is their washroom was behind the counter, so she would have had to buzz me in. And luckily she said make it quick. And while I was in there, I left 2 special USB keys in the stalls. And about 2 hours later, a curious employee plugged it into his computer, which loaded my hacking software and let me right into his system and bypassed all their corporate security. It's a pretty cool story. It's called The USB Keys in the Urinal, so I invite you to Google it. This is how you would actually start looking for your information online. Maybe type in your phone number, what school you belong to, where your workplace is, any specific information that you think would be about you online. Now, in a live workshop I did earlier this year, most of the adults didn't find much information about themselves online, but some of them did find out that a local newspaper posted some photos and some information about their kids because they belonged to a soccer team. And that's where some of the problem is. These folks didn't know that information was there because a third party or someone else posted it online. So by doing these searches, they're able to find this information. So you must look for personal identifiable information about yourself, such as your phone number, your schools, your home address, etc. Have you ever heard of Google Alerts? If you haven't, then you're in for a little treat. This service monitors the web for keywords that you're interested in. So if you go to google.com/alerts and press enter, you'll be able to enter keywords such as your name, maybe your kid's name or whatever you want, and the moment that new content is published and Google sees it, it's going to send you an email with the link to that content. And you'll notice that as I type, Google is already showing me what it knows about my keywords. And this is awesome for your child's homework assignments too, by the way. You're welcome. Alright, so going back to the story about my friend Arnie, who I mentioned in the last video, let's reveal how he was targeted to receive a scary email like this. So whenever you turn on the 6 o'clock news and you see a data breach of a well-known company occur, did you ever wonder what actually happens to that stolen information? Now, over the last several years, there have been numerous mega breaches from companies like LinkedIn, Marriott, Under Armour's MyFitnessPal app, Equifax, where over 600 million records were stolen. And I know what you're thinking, why do I care? You know what these companies all have in common? They were all breached, they all lost data, and worst of all, they have no idea who did it. And among that data was people's email addresses and passwords. And if you had a really weak password like John123, well, the hackers can crack that in moments and reuse that information. So if you're like most people who use the same password on multiple accounts, well, this is a new way that the cyber criminals are getting into your accounts and hacking you. So the first step in knowing if you're at risk is to know if your email address is linked to a data breach in general. Let's open up your favorite browser and go to google.com. Next, you'll start typing, have I been, and you'll see, have I been pwned? This is hacker talk for have I been owned? Have I been hacked? This is a website that allows internet users to check whether the data breaches have compromised their data. Once you're on this site, you're going to want to enter your email address. Now, let me read your mind. I know what you're thinking. Well, if I enter my email address, aren't I just giving it to someone who runs the site and then they can try to hack me? Don't worry, I get this comment pretty much every time during live events. This site is run by a guy named Troy Hunt. He's a Microsoft Regional Director and received the Most Valuable Professional Award for Developer Security. And being a blogger at troyhunt.com, he's also an international speaker on web security and the author of many top-rated security courses for web developers on Pluralsight. He created Have I Been Pwned as a free resource for anyone who wants to quickly assess if they may have been put at risk due to an online account of theirs having been compromised or pwned in a data breach. He wanted to keep it dead simple and easy to use and entirely free so it could be of maximum benefit to the community. Phew, now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to enter my personal email address for this demonstration and press enter. Darn it, the search revealed that I was part of 8 data breaches. So if I scroll down, I can see what data breach my email address and password were part of and when. So what happens here is, if your email address shows up in breached data and it's very easy password, the cyber criminals were able to crack it and send you an email and scare you into paying them, which is exactly what happened to Arnie. So make sure you enter all of your email addresses, including your work emails, just to see if you're at risk. And in the next video, I'm going to show you what to do if you are part of a data breach. So let's talk about two-factor authentication right now. Now, in my personal opinion, this advanced security feature should be mandatory and enabled by default on all of our online accounts, especially in today's world where there's so much digital crime and internet fraud on the rise. Now, most of you already know the importance of online security, logins, usernames, and passwords, but there's still a good chance that you've never heard of two-factor authentication, or two-step verification as they call it. Basically, two-factor authentication, or two-step verification, is an extra security layer that requires your username and password and something that only you have on you, like a mobile phone that can receive a text message. If you ever worked for a big company back in the early 90s, you used to carry a little RSA token around with you where the numbers used to change every 30 seconds. Well, this is the exact same concept, except we're using your mobile phone. In a nutshell, you'll first log into the website like you normally do by entering your username and password, and then the website's going to send you a code directly to your mobile phone. You'll need to enter that code into the browser, and only then can you begin using the service. Look, I know it sounds complicated, but you won't be prompted again on a particular device for at least 30 days. And my job is to make this as painless and straightforward as possible so that you get it done right. So what's really great about this is that if anyone else got a hold of your password and tried to log in as you on another device, well, they're going to also need your phone. So there's two factors at play here: the code on your phone and your regular password. This is great because if someone figures out your password, they won't be able to sign into your account unless they know that unique random code that was just sent to your phone. Then you'll also know if someone's messing around with your account because you'll get a text message and you'll know it wasn't you. And this makes it harder for potential intruders to gain access and steal your data or your identity. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to enable two-factor authentication for some of the most popular online services. Now, going back to the topic about phishing and compromised passwords from a data breach, a prevalent question I get asked is, well, how do I know if my PC's been hacked? Or how do I know if someone is spying on me through my webcam? Let's quickly recognize the signs of a break-in or a compromise. But first, let me ask you the question. How do you know if your computer's been hacked? What are some of the signs? First of all, your antivirus software should be firing off all kinds of alerts that it's blocking threats, unless of course you're using a free outdated one. You might hear Windows alert sounds for no reason. Your computer starts running really slow. Or, my favorite comment, my mouse is moving by itself. Do you think that's a problem? Yeah, I think so. What about if spyware is installed on your computer? Do you know how you can tell the difference? Are you experiencing any of these issues, like the browser startup homepage is changing? So for example, say you open up your browser and it usually opens up to google.com and now it's going to ask.com. That might be a sign that your computer has an infection. Same as frequent firewall alerts about unknown programs trying to access the internet. So a few years ago, I created a video called How to Know If You've Been Hacked in 4 Minutes. It's currently got over 350,000 views and over 600 comments. And although the video performed really well, there's a few things that I thought I can build on this and try to make the video demonstration even easier for my audience. Let me show you a really cool tool that'll help you find unwanted visitors on your computer as well as your network. The tool is called Glasswire, which is an advanced firewall tool, and it can be downloaded from glasswire.com. This will help us detect hidden threats and instantly see your current and your past network activity. It'll detect malware and block badly behaving apps. So if we head over to www.glasswire.com, what we want to do is download the software by clicking on the big green box that says free download. Once it's downloaded to our downloads folder, I want you to right click and run as administrator so that we can begin the install. So let's click next and then again to accept the terms. Click next again to accept the defaults. Click next again to install the software in this folder, and next again to give it the start menu name. Now, while the install is happening, let me tell you about a little gift I got for you. If this is a software that you like and you want to buy the full version, I'll have a special promo code for you at the end that'll give you a discount. Very welcome. So now that the install is complete, let's make sure that the Run Glasswire box is checked and click Finish. Welcome to Glasswire, folks. Right now, we're in the graphical user interface. This is where we'll be able to see all the traffic, whether it be applications or where your internet traffic is going and who the software publishers are. Now let's configure Glasswire a bit more. I want you to click on Glasswire on the top left and select Settings. On the left menu, choose Security. We want to turn this on, so click the Unlock button so that we get to see the extra alerting. So as you can see, a lot of the best features are locked, but it's okay for now. Next, click on Virus Total on the left menu bar. This is an important feature because as you're interacting with files or clicking on links that were unknowingly malicious, Virus Total will analyze them and report it to you. Now click OK. In order to really see if your computer is doing bad stuff behind your back, you're going to want to close down pretty much every application that's open. We don't want any applications communicating on your network as much as possible. And the reason for this is because many viruses will activate when the computer is idle. This way, when you let it run overnight, for example, you'll be able to see where all your traffic is going. For this demonstration, I didn't close any programs because I want to show you some of the activity so that you can see what it looks like. Next, we want to click on Usage at the very top of the screen. Now, because I let this run for the day, we can see that Microsoft Teams has sent out over 1 gigabyte of data. This is normal for me because I do a lot of virtual meetings. So if we want to dig deeper into this application, we can click on the application and get more information on what it's doing. We can also click on the Hosts tab, and this will show us the other servers that this application is talking to. If we go back to the Info tab, we can click on Virus Total and it'll analyze the application and the traffic. Thankfully, it's green. Green is clean. Remember that. Here's another example. I'll click on SQL Server Telemetry Client and then click on Virus Total. Now, as you can see, no threats at all. Another great feature of Glasswire is a network discovery function called Things. If we click on Things at the top, this tab will allow us to see what other devices are connected to your network, and maybe find some devices that you didn't expect to be there. Do you know how many calls I get a month from folks who are constantly getting attacked, only to find out it's a neighbor that hacked their Wi-Fi and was downloading illegal software? This is a really cool feature because it'll notify you if a new device is found on a network. But unfortunately, it's locked in the trial version. If we click on the Firewall tab at the top, this will show us the running applications that maybe you want to block now. Unfortunately, again, this feature isn't available until you upgrade. But remember, I am going to reveal to you my personal access code that you can use to get a discount if you're interested. So for now, I'll just X out. Next, click on the Alerts tab at the top. This is where we're going to get a status of what's happening on your machine. Let's click on the Apps tab to see a list of the current applications that are talking on your internal network, as well as the internet. Alright, let me break this down a little easier for you so that we know what we're looking at. The left column is where we're going to see what applications are running, and what changes or alerts that this application made. On the right hand side, we have a list of the internet locations and what software components spoke to that address. For instance, back on March 24th, my Adobe Acrobat Cloud software decided to check in with Adobe to see if there was any new updates to my software. At the time, there was no updates. But if you see on March 30th, an update occurred and the version changed from 6.4 to 6.6. And then again on June 2nd, where two updates occurred both in the morning and the afternoon. As you can see, it kept a history of alerts for all the changes that occurred. Now, I don't expect you to fully understand what you just saw, but it'll be enough information for you to bring to your IT specialist if you suspect something has happened to your computer. If we jump back to the Graph tab at the top, you can sort your network activity by month, or week, or by 24-hour period, even a 3-hour period. Say for example, we want to see what happened at 1:22 p.m. Well, we can see that 8 applications were communicating at that time. And you can click on the blue icons to see which applications they were. Now, obviously you're getting pop-ups to upgrade Glasswire because the feature you want isn't available in the free version. So let me quickly show you how to take advantage of my discount. Once you click on the upgrade button, you'll be presented with 3 versions of the product: a Basic, Pro, and Elite. The biggest difference is how long you want your network history to be so you can have a baseline. So the Basic version gives you 6 months worth of history. The Pro will give you 1 year, and the Elite will give you unlimited. Now, in order to get your discount, you need to open up a new tab on your browser and head over to www.cyologylabs.com/Glasswire. Here you're going to see the same 3 levels you just saw, but once you click on the version you want, it's going to redirect you back to Glasswire.com's checkout page, except this time, my promo code's been applied. So having you come to my website first will actually allow me to see and get some insights into how many of you are actually interested and how many of you are actually using my code. Now remember, I'm in Canada, eh? So the checkout page just converted to Canadian currency, and that's why you may see a different price. But as you can see, my promo code got applied to activate your discount. You're welcome. Alright, let's recap. So far, you've learned about the potential threats that exist. Now I've shown you how that information about you was gathered. So in the next video, I'm going to help you start locking things down and get protected so that you don't experience a data breach. You'll also discover a solution to an underlying problem that has plagued the IT world for generations, including the step-by-step process to put this in place properly. But before we go, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, scroll down, leave a comment, and tell me your thoughts about what you learned. I'm going to read every comment and I'll respond to as many as I can. So, I'll see you in the next video.